Hello and welcome from Austria. We're here in Spielberg and this is the 4th race weekend of the DTM season 2012, and we certainly had a wonderful race weekend here and we are loving Austria, and the highlights are here for you now. Enjoy.
Thanks very much, Farina. A magnificent, a spectacular venue here in Austria in the Styrian Mountains. And this is a challenging racetrack, originally known as the Österreichring, has been a Grand Prix venue in the past. In 2003, the track fell into disuse, but Red Bull had it resurrected, built many new buildings, although the track trace remains the same. And we were racing here again last year, so this is the second time in the modern era that the DTM cars have raced here. All kinds of activities down on the grid. There's Ralf Schumacher. He lives just up the road in Salzburg these days. And Timo Scheider might be German. He races under an Austrian license. There's Martin Tomczyk, who won this race last year. Gary Paffett, championship leader going into this race. 2 wins and a 2nd place. Bruno Spengler, the other man who's won a race this year. Matthias Ekstrom looking for his first victory of the season, the double winner of the championship in the past. So, courtesy of Hankook Tyres, let's check out this circuit on their animation. We go down onto the start-finish line, which is in the valley, and this circuit climbs up the side of a valley and then down again. And here they go to the first very tight right-hander. And this is a vital corner to get the drive because you go steeply uphill, winding up the valley side. And then into what is very close to a hairpin bend right down the gearbox to 2nd place. Turning right here and then riding alongside the ridge. One of the fastest parts of the circuit. Quite a few overtaking opportunities here. Then the right-hander, most of these corners are named after sponsors. Diving down the hill to the right. And then left, another fast corner. And then heading towards the corner called the Jochenried curve. One of the most famous corners on the track. Jochenried, of course, the great Austrian driver who's lost his life in the 1970s racing for Lotus, but won the championship, of course, that year. And then we go finally around the Red Bull corner and to the start-finish line. And there they go, that's a lap of the Red Bull Ring. Just check out the distance on the Red Bull Ring, 4.326 kilometers. This race, it is 203 kilometers. Qualifying, a big surprise, his first ever pole position. Edo Mortara in his 2nd year had a fast run, a bit of a dusty run, but he was on the pole position and delighted.
As a young driver, these moments are like so difficult to achieve. Sometimes you go to bed and you dream about like doing a result like this, but it's always like really difficult to realize them.
But the championship leader was right in the hunt as well. Gary Paffett put it on the front row of the grid in the black Mercedes C-Class.
We've got to try and score as many points as we can tomorrow. I mean, it'd be nice to win another race, but we've just got to score points at the moment. Score good points and then see where we are in a few races' time.
Audi were looking good here. Not only did they have Mortara on the pole, but Ekstrom was third fastest with a good lap.
It's really annoying not to bring it home without mistakes, so this I don't like, but Edo and Gary did a better job, so they deserve to be up front. Now the job starts to concentrate and find the best setup for tomorrow's race, because that's when it will count the most and where we get the points.
Best of the BMW drivers, Martin Tomczyk, who won the race here a year ago. He ended up fourth.
Basically, the overall result for BMW, I think it's quite okay again. I mean, we showed the last races that our performance is good over the distance in the race. We will make the others a hard time tomorrow and hope to gain some places in tomorrow's race.
And another BMW going fast, driven by Joey Hand, the Californian, unlocked the key to making one of these cars go very quickly indeed. He qualified fifth.
A top 5 is possible tomorrow, for sure, and that would be a big deal for me. I think to get in the top 5, I mean, this today is a lot of, it's good momentum, it's good morale for the team. If we wreck out tomorrow, okay, whatever. I mean, if something goes wrong, whatever. This qualifying today will start my season, I think, in DTM.
Ralf Schumacher was on the front row a year ago, but this year it was only 10th. He was a little disappointed.
We have a strong race package as in the last few races, so I guess it should go further forward, and especially on this track where you can overtake quite well.
Mike Rockenfeller's car pushed back after Q2, 13th place on the grid, and very much a disappointment for him. Another Audi driver struggling, Timo Scheider, the 08 and 09 DTM champion, was only 16th.
In the end, we have been just too slow. We have no answer why. So we have to analyze that, and we try to find the answer for that. But right now it's really difficult to stay positive and to think positive. Yeah.
And no luck for David Coulthard. He may have won the Austrian Grand Prix in the past on this track, but he finished up on the back row of the grid. Let's check out the positions. Mortara, Paffett, Ekstrom and Tomczyk, Joey Hand fifth and Bruno Spengler, then Jamie Green, Philippe Albuquerque, Verner and Schumacher. They were the top 10 here at Spielberg. There, the rest of the field struggling. Andy Priaulx, Rob Wickens, the Canadian, and Coulthard right at the bottom. A busy grid down there, ideal weather conditions and packed grandstands. Temperature just about 30 degrees Celsius. So after disappointing runs in the earlier DTM races, interesting to see how Audi would fare. There's David Coulthard right on the back of the grid. Hopefully he could move up. Andy Priaulx getting ready, the 3 times World Touring Car Champion, started his DTM career well, but has been struggling in the last couple of races. And another man wondering what has gone wrong, Timo Scheider, 16th place for him. There's Mike Rockenfeller's car, but let's get down on the grid with the pole sitter.
Congratulations again to your very first pole in your DTM career. I've got to ask you honestly, did you have a good night's sleep or are you nervous?
No, I'm really nervous, to be honest with you, and I think that's normal. And right now, it's always difficult, before the start, but if you start, in the front positions, it's even more difficult. And right now, I can tell you, I'm really, really nervous. And I cannot wait actually to go in the car and to actually drive, because it's a way to deal with the pressure a little bit better.
So Mortara there admitting his nerves. Ralf Schumacher just getting on his crash helmet, about to climb into the car. Earplugs first though, of course. Dirk Verner in P9. Verner, the young driver who made his main career moves through racing a Porsche, but is now very much part of the BMW squad. Philippe Albuquerque in his second year, the Portuguese driver, also in a Team Rosberg car like Mortara on the pole. Albuquerque looking for a good finish from P8. One man who was rather disappointed was Jamie Green, starts in P7. Thought he might have a better run than that, but of course in the DTM, fractions of a second separate the man on pole for the man who's 8th or 9th. Jamie just not quite getting it right in qualifying. And there, Bruno Spengler, the man who chased for the championship all last year, now with BMW, already with that win at the Lausitz Ring. And then Joey Hand from Sacramento, California, already a winner at Sebring this year for BMW, but now seems to be in the speed. And the reigning champion, Martin Tomczyk for BMW, qualified in 4th place. And let's speak with his team boss now, Jens Marquardt.
Martin Tomczyk certainly has a lot of potential. If he didn't have that one brake mistake, he certainly could have snatched pole, I'm sure. But Martin started in P4 and Bruno Spengler starting in P6. Are you going to play it off by ear today, or do you have a tactic?
Well, I think as tight as it is, for sure we have to get through the first corners first. And we don't want to forget Joey in 5th as well. So we've got 3 cars that are very close to the front. And the target has to be to get those 3 guys close to the podium and onto the podium. And for sure we have a strategy for that, but I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, but he's not going to tell us, and I wonder if that strategy will work. There is the highest placed Audi driver in the championship, Matthias Ekstrom. Been racing in this series for over a decade. Let's see what Ekstrom can do here. And here, Gary Paffett had such a wonderful start to his season. And we can hear now from his team boss, Norbert Haug.
Do you have a good tactic in order to race, in order to ace this race?
Well, it's a difficult one. It's a very long one. It's 203 kilometers. This is a new record figure in DTM, so more laps than before here in Spielberg. Quite a challenging track, and I think we can expect some surprises. Of course, it would be nice to continue our streak with Gary. He's in the front row, but we have very strong competitors. But basically, we should be in good shape. If we do not make mistakes, we should have a good race.
So there, the black and red Audi A5 of Edo Mortara, the Geneva-based driver, dual nationality, French and Italian. He's multilingual. So there is the grid lineup: Edo Mortara, Gary Paffett, Audi and Mercedes. And then on row 2, Audi and BMW, Ekstrom and the reigning champ, Martin Tomczyk, winner here a year ago. Joey Hand is best qualifying in the DTM, and Bruno Spengler is sure to be a threat. Then it's Jamie Green and Philippe Albuquerque in that bright blue car with the red star on it. Next up, Dirk Verner, new to the DTM, and Ralf Schumacher was on the front row a year ago. Augustus Barfus from Brazil and Miguel Molina. Behind them, Mike Rockenfeller in 13th, lucky for some, and Christian Vitoris, who started on the front row at the previous race. Adrien Tambay, the young Frenchman, and Timo Scheider scratching his head about his lack of pace. Then it's Roberto Merri, another newcomer to Mercedes, and Andy Prio. Robert Wickens from Canada and Susie Wolf got into the top 20. And the back row, Rahal Frey and a disappointed David Coulthard. So here they are getting ready to line up this, the longest DTM race of the year. It had been lengthened just a few days before the race. They had to change the sporting regulations to cover that. Lots of onboard cameras as ever. And I think we're looking back from Bruno Spengler's car there briefly. There is Ralf Schumacher at the wheel. Could he go forward? All the pit crews get ready. Anticipation is in the air. The revs are rising. The safety car is in position. The green flag has waved to the back. The lights drop. 4, 5, and launch. And Mortara gets a good start. But Mortara is outpaced by Gary Paffett. And look at Mortara going wide, and he goes all the way around the outside. So Mortara hesitating a bit. And we go on board with Bruno Spengler. And climbing up the hill, up the side of the valley, they go to the hairpin right. It's Mortara from Paffett. And there's an incident there. That was Tambay went straight on. And must have been some other incident. We saw Tambay going straight on. But at the front, it's a bit of bumping and boring there. And Ekstrom gets the worst of that, gets nudged back. But just look at Edo Mortara. He must have made 5 or 6 car lengths. And there the cool Swede Ekstrom slots back in. You see the mountains behind and this Sound of Music country area here. And we've got a safety car. We have a safety car. We haven't fully seen that incident as yet. Here's some onboard shots. There's Mary. And there, a problem for Dirk Verner. Smoke coming off his tyre. He must have got involved in that incident. Oh, Prio with body damage to the front. Oh, another disappointing run for Prio. I don't think he's going too far. Early retirement at Brands Hatch. And then walking away, there is Christian Vittoris. He must have been involved in that. Tambay must have gone all the way around the gravel and got back there. Vittoris, was he clipped? Anyway, Prio went into him. Vittoris rattled it along the Armco. Here's Vittoris's car. Well, he was virtually blinded, wasn't he, by all the dust that came up in that incident. Got back on, still with Vittoris. And then he was clipped there, I think, as he came back across the track. Just was caught, and then Prio went into him. So drama here at Spielberg in the opening lap.
Well, it happened in the first lap at the start. The second corner, I got pushed wide at the outside and then tried to come back on the track. And then I think it was a yellow car which hit me on the rear, and then I lost control of the car.
I wonder if that yellow car was Verner. There you see Tambay goes flying. So, this was the second part of the incident. And there's a bump. So there he comes back across onto the track. This is Bruno Spengler's view of it. Albuquerque and Spengler drops back a couple of places. There's Joey Hand. There they are down in the pits. And that's Charlie Lamb of Team Schnitzer. Everybody on the slow safety lap now, trying to keep some temperature and pressure into their tyres, into their brakes. And a shrug of the shoulders, Prio out in the early going for a second race running. There's Verner's car being pushed away. Well, it was one of those chain reaction things. Hectic first lap, a lot of elbowing going on, and we have retirements already.
What exactly happened?
Difficult to say for me because I was concentrating on going to turn 2. A lot of cars it's a very tight turn, and then I got a hit left rear, and from that point on the car wasn't to drive anymore. I tried it back to the pits, but no chance. It's a severe damage. It's very unfortunate. The weekend so far was really nice for me, and I think it would have been a good chance to get points. So now I didn't even drive a single lap in the race. It's very disappointing.
Here's that Vittorious Priaulx incident. Bang! Priaulx goes into him. Bonnick flies up. Let's hear now from Andy.
Well, I made a good start, average start, but very good first two corners. And unfortunately, Vittorious came from like on the grass, fully flat out, you know, on the power. The guy was out of control before he hit me, well and truly. So I don't know how that happened. Maybe he was nudged, but for sure there's less grip on the grass and the crete than on the track. And he came spearing across me and wiped me out. It's a crazy first lap. So I came off worse off again this weekend, but you know, that's racing.
And look at this damage to the front of Spengler's car. That must have been in the incident. And well, that was Spengler going into the side of Albuquerque, as seen from Molina's view, and that has damaged the French-Canadian's car. And I suspect he will be dropping back through the field. Mortara leads from Paffett, Tomczyk and Ekstrom. Ralf Schumacher's moved up a place, and Coulthard's moved up quite a few places as well. They're the second group, and here is Martin Tomczyk. Tomczyk pushing hard in the BMW with two cars out and another one wounded. But Mortara said he was nervous before the start, and now he has a lot of pressure from Gary Paffett. There's Albuquerque, a hand still racing hard, but Spengler, well, still seems to be pushing despite that body damage. Remember, he had damage to the front splitter in Brands Hatch, previous race, and that did hinder his progress, but Spengler certainly trying hard here. And tries to go down the inside of Joey Handy. He makes it, he goes past two of them. Well, Timo Scheider's been for a wild ride and gets back into the race. And this is Timo Scheider passing the Brazilian Farfus. And they are wheel to wheel for a long distance. And he gets nicked there just by Farfus. And that means he is catapulted straight on into the gravel trap, and they're right in front of our cameras. And an awful weekend for the former champion Timo Scheider. And now it does seem that front of that BMW is sparking. Wheel to wheel with Albuquerque. Look at Hand comes back, and they're three abreast here at Spielberg. Great DTM racing in this fourth round. And Joey Hand has got the inside line. Nice move by Hand, but what about his rival BMW driver? He gets a nudge up the back from Albuquerque, does Spengler. And Rockenfeller's in there as well. And so is the second Red Bull car of the Spaniard. But it's Joey Hand who is pushing hard at the moment for this group. Mortara in the lead from Paffett. Paffett pushing him. Then Tomczyk. Let's look at this. Really been pushed along. That Red Bull car has certainly got more horsepower. And that's Miguel Molina. Start the pits. Oh, that was a close one. Again, Molina seems to have lost one of the dive planes off the front. Maybe that was pushing the BMW along. Looking back at Susie Wolf now. Susie having a reasonable run down there in 17th place. Chasing after Molina. This is battle for position. Look at this incident again. Wow, it must have been about an inch between them. Maybe it was just millimetres, very close indeed. Pit exit action here at the... oh, Susie Wolf's has spun. Susie Wolf. And that would have dropped to a couple of places. But Susie, the occasional Williams test driver, that just gave it a bit too much throttle. 470 horsepower, turned it around. And Timo Scheider had a good view of it, as well as Gary Paffett comes in now. Can he make a better stop than Mortara? Cracking stop, 3 seconds for Gary Paffett. There's Martin Tomczyk. Tomczyk currently in 5th place. Of course, we're going through the pit stop period at the moment. All the times, positions will get scrambled, of course. Absolutely packed grandstands here. On board with Martin Tomczyk. Up this incline, one of the steepest in motor racing. There is Paffett. Let's have a look at this. Spengler being passed by Ralf Schumacher. Spengler must be in trouble. He's dropped back to 14th place now. Here's the Mortara pit stop. This is crucial. And he's losing a bit of time, I think, but he's going to come out. Is he going to come out in front of Paffett? Here comes Paffett, powering it up the hill with the Mercedes engine, chasing after the Audi. But the Audi has got plenty of grunt as well, and the Audi's managed to stay in front. Good first pit stop for Mortara, not as good as Paffett, but has managed to maintain the lead. Mortara and Paffett, and it's Tomczyk. Audi, Mercedes, BMW, 3 premium manufacturers, all very closely matched. Well, at the start of the season, people around Audi were worried that their car didn't have the pace. They've done a lot of work. There's only so many things they can do to the car because the regulations as DC slides off into the gravel, just trying a bit too hard. Only a few things that they can do to improve the car, but that's certainly what Audi have done on a busy weekend for them. DC is in the pits. It's all over for David Coulthard. He's having such a good run. There's Wickens getting involved with the fellow Canadian Spengler, who's obviously struggling. And, well, 9 out of 10 for flying from Wickens. That can't do the car much good here. Is Joey Hand going back into the race alongside Albuquerque. And Albuquerque, has he got the drag up the hill? Engine power pretty similar between the 3 manufacturers, all with the V8 engines, lots of lovely grunty horsepower here. And they're still side by side. We've seen some great side-by-side racing today, and Hand proving he's brave, finding the racing in Europe so competitive. And just as he got the drag all the way down the hill. Meanwhile, second and another crucial pit stop from Paffett. Can he jump past Mortara? Remember, Mortara hasn't won one of these races. He did have a victory in the show event at Munich, but that didn't count for points. Very different sort of race of champion style event. Mortara was good at that. He's good here. Meanwhile, Joey Hands and Albuquerque having this excellent battle. This is absolutely crucial. The seconds, 4.4, is that good enough to get him out in front of Paffett? It's going to be close. It's going to be very close indeed, and here comes Paffett. And Paffett will turn right, head up the hill, and then he will see out of the corner of his eye his arch rival, and can he do it? He's right with him. Has he got the speed up the hill? Can he get into that top corner and pass Mortara? But Mortara is hanging on, and Paffett tries down the inside, and there's no room there. And Paffett is on the grass. He tries the other side, but Mortara blocks him off. Perfect line, and Mortara hangs on. This could be the absolute crux of this race. Mortara has hung on. I thought Paffett was going to do it, but Gary is going to pressure him now for the final few laps of this race. Final 17 or 18 laps. And And can Mortara hang on? The man who is a former Euro F3 champion in his second year with Audi at the DTM. Mortara, of course, also former winner of the Macau Grand Prix, the only man to have done that in 2 consecutive years. But that's all single-seater stuff, and these are purebred racing cars, these DTM machines. But it's rather different to having the air rushing round your crash helmet as Tomczyk comes in now. And Tomczyk powers out. And in comes Ekstrom and Green. All action in the pits. And up they go, and they're our leading duo getting past. Tomczyk come between them. Tomczyk has come between them, and Tomczyk has got ahead of Paffett. Well, that was a bit of a surprise. Thought that when Paffett came out of the pits, he might be in the lead. Instead, he's now in 3rd place. And great stop from Martin Tomczyk. Those BMW boys have learned how to change those tyres pretty quickly. Remember, no fuel added this year, unlike last year. And Tomczyk's having to think about taking the lead, and he tries to go down the inside, and he touches Mortara. Mortara puts the opposite lock on, manages to correct. And they're almost wheel-to-wheel, side-by-side now. Phenomenal racing here. And now Tomczyk and Paffett rubbing paint. But Paffett has to drop back. 1, 2, 3 in this race. Magnificent battle. Let's see that. Oh, he hit him quite hard, didn't he? But Mortara was able to crank on the opposite lock. Car didn't snap sideways. Tomczyk, though, being boisterous with the relative new boy. Here we see it again. And he had to correct it. I thought maybe he'd go wide and Tomczyk would dive through. But Martin Tomczyk having a great race there. They're on the pit wall. And the boss there, Arno Jensen of Team Rosberg, they've never won one of these races, but Mortara's trying to change all that here today. Let's see this in a replay. Phenomenal racing. Up at the top corner, and Paffett just going a little bit wide, maybe losing a bit of momentum. And there you see he has dropped back. Helicopter shots looking down on this terrific circuit. The 4th round of the DTM. That man won round 1 and round 3. Chasing after the man who won last year's championship, and look how they've all closed up at the front now. And Timo Scheider has certainly made good progress on a different strategy. He went for a very long first run, and that seems to have got him into clean air, and he's been putting in some good laps. Of whatever problems Timo Scheider had in qualifying, seems to have ironed them out, because Scheider is going well. See, the first 4 or 5 both made both stops. But we still have this 3-way struggle for the checkered flag here going on. And Mortara under enormous pressure. Can he win his first DTM race? Just a season and 3 races behind him, on board with Martin Tomczyk. And it was here last year that Tomczyk won the race and really launched his big campaign to beat Bruno Spengler to the championship, which was, of course, successful. And then he switched, surprisingly, to BMW. And that car is certainly matching the pace of the 2 manufacturers who have been in this championship for all those years. New rules, of course, this year, these carbon fibre tubbed cars. And Mortara and Tomczyk still at it. 14 laps still to go. Here's a replay, and this was when Mortara came out after his second stop, and this is the Paffett challenge. And that's where I thought Paffett might be able to take the advantage, but he was on the grass and taking off. And Mortara might know that Gary Paffett's got those 18 championship DTM wins behind him, but he wasn't giving any quarter at all. And Mortara hung on, and that was crucial. And Mortara is still in the lead now. In the pits, Spengler with a problem. Had an incident on the opening lap, and that, I think, it's just got progressively worse. He climbs out of the car, walks away. This was the first lap incident, which initially damaged Spengler's car.
What exactly happened that you had to end the race?
Well, I had quite a good start, and then turn 2. It was a bit of a mess, but it was good racing, I would say. And then suddenly I got a hit on the rear, on the right side. As I was turning into the corner, Jamie Green just braked a little too late and was very aggressive and kind of pushed me really wild into my teammate Joey Hand. And unfortunately, I had to hit him as well because of Jamie's maneuver. And then my bonnet broke because of that, and my car was just undrivable for the rest of the race. We tried to stay out as much as we could, but we couldn't save anything, unfortunately, today. But much more was possible because the car. Much more was possible today because the car looks to be good in the race. Martin is second, so it's a shame for the team that I couldn't bring them more points today. But you know, we concentrate on the racing now.
Yeah, pit stop here for Timo Scheider. Last of those to stop for a second time, and that strategy and some quick lap times worked well. He's now in the battle for 6th place with Joey Hands and Philippe Albuquerque. And of course, Spengler's retirement is good for Paffett. In the points haul, he'll pull further away from the man who was lying in 2nd place in the title hunt. There's Joey Hand. And Hand with Albuquerque behind him. Good racing all down the field here at Spielberg. There's Scheider, Hand, Albuquerque, and then Rockenfeller. Mortara still in the lead. The gap just about a second. There's that big metal sculpture of bull behind under the arch. There's Tomczyk. And now Gary Paffett will have to start defending, I think, from Ekstrom. And look at Hand going down the inside of Albuquerque. And Albuquerque defends, and they're side by side. Damage to the front, I noticed, of the Audi. Goes for a wild old ride across the apex and the gravel. And that works well for Hand. Here is a Rockenfeller. Rockenfeller goes past Albuquerque as well. And he too has got a damaged grille on the front of his A5. Kicks up the dust in the face of his teammate. And they complete another lap. Closing stages here at the Red Bull Ring. And there's been plenty of charges here today. Let's see that incident of sliding wide and onto the gravel. Car bucking like a bull goes Albuquerque. Here's that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Everybody closed up. Just over 5 laps remaining here in this 4th round of the DTM. Well, Paffett will, in a way, be disappointed not to be in the lead, but these points are going to be valuable, are going to take him further into the lead of the championship. There's Ekstrom under pressure from Green. Here, nice slow-mo shot of Mortara, looks relaxed at the wheel. He won't be so relaxed on Monday morning. He's sitting a marketing exam. Still studying as well as being a race driver is Edo Mortara. Well, he won't have to fall back on those studies for a long time if this is anything to judge by. Green going the long way around in this silver wrap car. And Hand now has got Rockenfeller attacking him, and Rockenfeller goes down the inside and cleanly passes the Californian. And Albuquerque tries to take advantage of it, and Hand drops back behind Albuquerque. Excellent three-way battle. 2 damaged Audis versus the BMW, and Hand is very nearly clipped by Albuquerque. Albuquerque goes wide, but manages to use that runoff strip to stay ahead of Hand. There is Mortara, the Playboy logo on his car. We used to see that on Winkelhock's car in the past. Driving for Team Rosberg, who have never won one of these races. Arlo Jensen down in the pits must be very nervous indeed. He's got Dr. Ulrich sitting next to him, the boss of Audi Sport. So far this season, 2 Mercedes wins and 1 BMW win, but it looks as if it's going to go Audi's way this time, and it is Mortara, one of their more junior drivers, who's certainly delivering the goods here today. That's it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in your background, the 5th car, but here is Mortara. And Mortara is heading towards a famous victory, his first DTM win, and Edo Mortara wins it. The French-Italian driver takes a famous victory. Tomczyk is second, they celebrate there. There's Mr. Jensen. We get the donuts, let's go to Verena now.
Congratulations, I mean, he really did ace the race.
It was fantastic, it was really brilliant. It was one of the hardest hours in my life. Thank you very much to Audi Sport, thank you very much to Edo, and to all of my team. I'm very, very happy.
And Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, I bet you're really, really happy as well. It couldn't have gone any better.
No, for sure, I'm really happy. The 4 rings are back, we are now able to win races again, and Edo did really a brilliant job. His team did a perfect job. I also have to say that Matthias was fighting really hard. He could have made a little bit maybe better at the end, but he was just fighting like hell. And it's difficult if you are in a pack with so close performing cars to overtake, but he was fighting to the very end. I'm really proud of all my people. It was difficult to catch up. We've been working very, very hard, but that's the best thank you to all the guys that have been working that hard.
Here is the final result. Mortara winning by just over a second from Tomczyk and Paffett after that big fight. Ekstrom Green, Timo Scheider all the way to 6th, Rockenfeller, Albuquerque, Hand, Farfus, Ralf Schumacher coming home in 11th place. Roberto Merri, Rob Wickens, Susie Wolf and Ray Halfrey, the rest of the field, all retirements here.
You certainly dominated the race. Congratulations to your very, very first victory. Honestly, how does it feel?
I don't know if I dominated the race. I was trying to survive. Gary and then Martin. Just after the pit stops, it was difficult to keep them behind. But otherwise, when I could run free, I had no problem. The car was perfect. I could manage my tires. Actually, I was not pushing 100%. I was seeing, Martin behind me. That could have been, fast at the end. And I was trying to keep a margin for the last laps, but fortunately, he couldn't come back. So I'm really happy.
And this is what it's done to the championship points. Paffett with a very healthy lead then over Ekstrom, Green, Spengler and Martin Tomczyk.
It was a tough battle, but how's it feel?
Really good. I mean, another podium, in first and fourth in 4 races, so it's incredible. We gained more points in the championship, so continued our pretty much perfect start to the season.
I bet you could get used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been incredible. I mean, today was tougher. Today was a very difficult race. Edu and Tomczyk and Martin really wanted to win this race, so a bit more than I did, I think. So in the end, I sort of thought I was settled for third.
And you, Martin, you really did push hard. You really did give your best. How does it feel for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough race. Actually, you were not allowed to do any mistake because then Gary or whatever or whoever was behind me at that time was there. So it was just doing your run without any mistakes and hoping that the other one in front of you was doing a mistake. Unfortunately, it did not work out. So I just could manage for perfect after a perfect second pit stop to come between both of them, and then I could finish second. So it's a great result as well for my team RMG. It's mine. I mean, it's fantastic.
So time to celebrate here at the Red Bull Ring. And there, a new winner for the first time. It was Edo Mortara. But let's hear now from the team boss of Mercedes-Benz.
Well, it was an epic battle, I have to say. I mean, on the one hand side, Gary has a lead now by 36 points, increased from 25 to 36. Which is good. On the other hand, he grabbed victory almost, and that ended with some grass in the cooling, and he had to pace himself, came home third, 4 races, 4 times podium, 2 wins. I mean, excellent so far, and I hope we can continue like that.
Another headline here, the performance from near the back of the grid by Timo Scheider, who moved up to 6th place.
The guys gave me a good strategy and perfect first and second pit stop. After that, finishing in P6 is an awesome result today, because we had up and downs today, which are good on one hand, but bad on the other hand, yeah.
And the first full-time contender from America in the DTM proved that he's very much going to be a contender.
I just tried to do my best to hang in there for the guys. They worked really hard. We made a big move from 21st in practice to 5th in qualifying. I lunched the start a little bit and really had to race for it, but I feel good about it. I mean, of course you want to finish in the top 5, but we had some damn good racing.
Yeah, we certainly did. From me, Andrew Marriott, it's goodbye, and a final word from Verena.
Who would have guessed that this race here in Spielberg would be so exciting? A very well-deserved victory for Edoardo Mortara. Indeed, it was his first victory in his DTM career. And also Martin Tomczyk and Gary Paffett did a very, very good job here. And now we've got a 4-week break and we'll be back at the Norrisring. So see you then. Bye-bye.